So, in light of all these things that we mentioned, what are some ways the church can better deal with doubt?
I think we kind of, and I could be wrong, but I'm having this idea that I'm trying to formulate this idea that there are levels to doubt, right? There's the
Yeah.
doubt where it's like you hear something, it's just like, huh, let me see if I can like, cause that there's some things that don't quite fit, right? In the way that we understand things. So maybe we need to go and see how it all fits. Then there's like the doubt where it's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be the way it is, right? Where it's a little bit more, and then there's like the doubt where it's like, yeah, bro, I don't think that's it,
Mm.
right? And
Mm.
then there's just like a full blown like, no, that's not real. That's when it's
Yeah.
disbelief. So I think there are levels to it. I could be wrong, but I think that's. I mean, I think if there are other words for it other than doubt, then maybe that's it. But for me, yeah, doubt has levels to it, and so I guess some of our answers are going to be different depending on which level of doubt you're at. Talk to the person, understand where they're at, right? Because it may not be like they may not be like I'm ready to leave the church. I don't believe there's a God, but we're treating it like that, and all they're saying is like, yeah, I don't know if I'm pretty sure women can wear pants. I don't know about that whole theology aspect, right? It's just find out where they are. I mean,
But
find out where they're not.
I think the problem is that people view that as in the same levels
Yeah,
as all
True.
their
yeah, like they clump it all together, right?
pants,
Yeah.
God's existence, all the same level.
I
Women
guess
ordination,
maybe it's
God's
the slippery slope.
existence.
Maybe they're like I think it's just like they think like once you start at this like small level of like modesty, it's a slippery slope to like, oh, they're definitely gonna stop believing in God sometime soon.
Yeah.
That's like-
yeah, I think that may be
I
it.
don't think that exists. That does not exist.
That may be it, but there's a reason that's a logical fallacy, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Slippery slope. But I really like what you said. Just understanding that there are different levels and being aware of that and being aware of where the other person is at. I think also it's just the church can deal better with doubt in just understanding the other person, which is, like, as you said, different levels. But in terms of my experience, listen to them
My favorite. I love listening.
without saying anything.
Yeah.
Conversate with them, and not in a way where you're gonna try to correct them. They came to you for a reason, right? And like, you just gotta understand where they're coming from, and that's empathy, right? And you just gotta understand that they're already coming from a place of insecurity. They're already coming from a place of uncertainty, right? And they're coming to you in a posture of vulnerability. And then what do? You beat them up with verses. No, it's like,
And then I will never be vulnerable. I'm never gonna express my doubt.
Yeah,
I'll express
and-
doubt, and then boom, it's festering, and then it's boom. It's,
yeah, and like, what does that lead
it's
to?
messed up,
It's what first, if you're a person if that doubting person trusts you, like, you should be able to, deal with that trust in a trustworthy manner, I guess. And like, don't beat them up,
Yeah.
right, with verses. It's like just understanding that it's not your job to correct them. Ultimately, it's the Holy Spirit's job, but we always have this mentality that it's our job necessarily to put them in a correct path, and that it's up to us, right, and not the Holy Spirit. So it's like we're really not having faith in the work of the Holy Spirit to set them in the right path. And what does that do? Like, when we correct them with verses, when someone comes to you is like, hey, I don't believe that I don't believe that there's a Holy Spirit, right?
Sure.
And then you believe that there's a Holy Spirit, then you automatically, hey, this is the verse in Genesis
Da, da, da.
1. It
Yeah,
says
yeah,
the
yeah.
Holy Spirit hovered in the waters. But and then like what happens, right? That will cause people to clam up. That will cause that person to just like, if you shut them down, they'll shut down. They'll lose their trust in you. They'll lose that confidence that you are there to hear them out. And what happens? Like, they're not gonna talk to you anymore. I think there needs to be a level of awareness in how to deal with it. It's just there, be there to listen. If someone comes up to you, hey, I don't know about the Holy Spirit, like, you don't automatically go, oh, Genesis 1, or the Holy Spirit was in a form of a dove.
Open up the Bible. Show up here.
In Acts it says Priscilla and Aquila, Sapphira, Ananias and Sapphira, who I always like mix. Ananias and Sapphira lied to the Holy Spirit, so the Holy Spirit must be real. And if you don't believe in the Holy Spirit, then you're not a Christian anymore. You can't be a member of this church. So if we do that automatically, like, that's not good. You're just there to listen. Instead of doing that, just say, hey, let's go out for coffee on Monday. Or if you don't believe in coffee, let's go
for some
have.
people, it's a thing.
Let's go
That's a
have
slippery
lunch.
slope for somebody.
Let's go have
Y'all
lunch.
coffee, guys. Slippery slope, man.
That gossip juice, man.
Let's go have lunch on Monday, and let's talk about it. And you talk about it, and you listen, and it's an ongoing dialogue. It's not you debating them. And that's what people need, like people to listen to them, and that's how, like, I think the church needs to deal better with doubt.
The approach is the key part. Like, I could tell people's verses. I could tell people all the Bible answers, like, no problem. But it's all about, like, if you're able to do this in a loving approach. Again, like, keeping those keeping your questions open-ended. Trying to, like, I feel like it's like kind of a gentle redirection. It's like, what if a baby crawling, you know? They're crawling, they're trying to walk straight, trying to go to like a door or something, but they're veering off. You're like, no, maybe you just gently tap them and slowly guide them in a very gentle and loving way, versus like, oh, I'm gonna friggin' throw this baby to where it needs to go. So I think approach is crucial, and yeah, definitely having an open ear is so crucial. Yes. But I was thinking about it, because like, what if we do lead this person to doubt, or well, not us exactly. Like, what if this person does choose to doubt? They choose to leave. Like, I think we shouldn't even stop. Like, we shouldn't stop. Like, oh, like how we usually, like, oh, they're not within the Christian church. Let me just like cut them off from my circle of friends. I'm not gonna talk to them. Da 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 da. Like, I really believe that God has called us to even like love them in that place of where they're completely left the church, because we can't lose. We shouldn't lose hope. That means we're doubting the power of what God can do, even someone that proclaims it, right?
Yeah.
And again, I really believe it's approach, and what people need in this time of doubting is like a relationship, a listening ear. They need love. They need acceptance to know that when they are in this vulnerable state, when they are in this doubt, they're not going to be shunned away, because essentially, like, if we do shun them away, in their mind, like, oh, God's shutting me away because I have doubt. And that's totally not the God. That's totally not who God is. And that's totally not the God we're representing. And that's totally not what Jesus taught us to show to other people who are doubting. So
bear one another's burdens, right? So even before they get to the point where they're, they've left the church, right? They're still there with doubt. And you know that they don't believe in the Holy Spirit, right? Just bear that burden for the understanding that they're not there. Maybe later on down the line, the struggling that the Holy Spirit has on their heart, that same Holy Spirit that they don't believe in, right? As a person, let's get it straight. that they don't believe in the Trinity, but that same person of the Holy Spirit works on their heart. That hopefully down the line that they'll come around and they'll see the power. That the Holy Spirit, poor guy, he's always like left behind. Like he doesn't get enough shine because the other two just like totally outshine him. But yeah,
Shout out
like
to
the
Holy
Holy
Spirit.
Francis Chan says the forgotten God.
On God, yeah.
yeah, the forgotten guy, yeah, like he's just there in the background, like. So yeah, that striving with that person's heart will bring them back to it, right? So until then, we are called to bear one another's burden. Obviously, so much harder to say. I mean, so much easier to say than to do.
Sure, definitely.
Right? Particularly if you're going through your own doubts, right? But that's what the Christian life is about. That's what the experience is about, and knowing that the Holy Spirit and Jesus will they'll give you that strength to continue on.